several muscles and ligaments and tendons to hold it in place right in here. And just everything we got the three borders, so a superior border at the top, and a medial border, so the really straight portion, closer to the vertebrae, and the angled portion, this would be like by the armpit, so the lateral border, and medial superior borders, each with three sides, and then the curved portion here, so a coracoid process, the only coracoid process we have. And pointing out here, making the shoulder, this is the acromion, the big part here. And as you follow the acromion, it kind of narrows out. This is the spine. And there's now shallow depression, supraspinous fossa, superior to that spine, inferior to the spine, infraspinous fossa. So we then have to turn it to the side. This is now the socket for our arm, right there, the femur. And that socket's called the glenoid cavity, or fossa, glenoid fossa. And then now in this area, another depression. This is subscapular fossa. And we'll learn muscles that sit in all of these fossae, all of these spots. We'll see that in the next portion. So scapula, and then the clavicle. So we have our clavicle here, and the way this bone sits like so. So you see on the lateral side it's curving forward, scapula. So we have this side here. This is the sternal end. We go against the sternum, and this opposite side here. This is the acromial end. So I kind of look at it like the acromial end, like it's flatter. And you look at it from superior to inferior sides. That's how I view it, and also it points forward there. The superior side of this bone, if you look at it, the superior side's smooth, and the inferior side has these bulges on it. It has more tubercles, they're called. So this is a right clavicle. Right here, take a look at that.
Upper limbs, humerus.
Yeah. Intertubercular. Tubercle.
So that's a right clavicle that you're looking at.
I don't know. Tubercle. Intertubercular.
I was doing that earlier too.
That's why it's supposed to be.
Say it.
It's dumb.
Not looking at it, say it right, you can spell it.
Right. And if you would say it right, you know how to remember it.
Tubercle.
Did you see my last test? I'm like making up words. I'm like, I know it starts with AC. Like,
And we have a humerus. So there's the round head to the humerus. And after the head, kind of this little notch after the head, that's the anatomical neck. So my fingers are right around the anatomical neck, just after the head. Anatomical neck. And now at this location, we have tubercles, the big lateral one. There's a greater tubercle. It's on the lateral side. Anterior side, the smaller, lesser tubercle. Greater tubercle, lesser tubercle. And between them, there's an intertubercular sulcus. So it's this groove going between the two. So pretty much all in here. Intertubercular sulcus going between the tubercles and going distal as well. And you follow it down. So this is a model. It doesn't show it well, but this spot here, the bulge, is the deltoid tuberosity. So you see it's on the lateral side. And a real skeleton, as I mentioned. Well, this one's colored in. But on a real bone, it sticks out a lot more. So that bulge there is the deltoid tuberosity. And just traveling down, we just know the term diaphysis, the narrow part on any long bone. So getting down to the distal end, on each side we now have the epicondyles. So there's a medial side, same side with the head. The head's on the medial side, so we have a medial epicondyle. And that sticks out a lot farther than the lateral epicondyle. And both of those kind of have a rough texture to it, a rough surface. If we look at all the smooth surface, this is now in the joint where it's really smooth. It looks like there's 3 bulges. The lateral smooth bulge is called capitulum. So it's just that one bump. The lateral smooth one's the capitulum. And the other 2 sections together make up the trochlea. And it goes around, to the back. So this is all the trochlea, the medial 2 sections, all with the smooth surface, the trochlea. But we have this notch going into here. On the anterior side, so we're looking at the shallow notch here, is the coronoid fossa. And we spin it around to the back, the much deeper one is the olecranon fossa. So you see it's a lot deeper on the posterior side, coronoid anterior, olecranon deeper posterior. So that'll then lead us right to the ulna. Ulna's the one with the U on it. It's the ulna. And that U shape is called the trochlear notch. And on each side of the notch we have a process that's sticking upwards. So at the extreme proximal end at the elbow joint, we have the olecranon. That's this process here. There's the trochlear notch, and on the opposite side, there's now a coronoid process. Trochlear notch is between olecranon, coronoid, and on the side of the coronoid process, you have this smooth surface here. On the ulna, that's what this bone is, that little surface here is the radial notch. Ulna has a radial notch, and then we go down the diaphysis like any long bone, and we get to the end, and we have the head. It's just this end of the bone, and the little point coming off is the styloid process. Styloid process coming right off of the head. And on the radius here, so this is at the elbow joint, this is now the proximal end, and this is called the head as well. So this round portion on the bone, the head, and just after the head we have a bulge. This is the radial tuberosity. And we go down the diaphysis, and we get to a point here. It's a styloid process. And we're looking for another little notch on this bone here. So this is the radius, and on the radius we have an ulnar notch. So we actually have a left arm here. Yeah, all the way down. So we have a scapula, and it has the glenoid cavity. That's the socket for the round head on the humerus. And now at the end here we have the capitulum and the trochlea. The trochlea fits now with that trochlear notch. We have a coronoid process, and when you flex your elbow, it fits into the coronoid fossa. And when you extend your arm, the olecranon process fits into the olecranon fossa. That's where all these names come together now.
Sweet.
We have a head on the radius here, the round head, and a capitulum. Capitulum just means head. On the radius, we have an ulnar notch. We have a head. On the ulna, we have a radial notch. We have a head. Each head sits in the notch. So it sits together like so. So from the